after what happened during the elections. And you say that one side will just proceed and carry out their mandate and put in commissioners who will pre-rig the 2027 election. Of course, it cannot happen. So this gathering is aware that this is one of the matters we are canvassing at the National Dialogue Committee. In the interest of preserving the integrity of the talks and the interest of the good faith that we've been able to establish between the previously antagonistic parties, I choose not to delve deeply into this matter, because these are matters we are canvassing very actively. I will, however, broadly state what is already in public domain regarding the reconstitution of the IEBC. It must be an inclusive process that is not dictated by the executive or Kenya Kwanza. Our preferred model remains, as of now, it can vary depending on the outcome of our consultations, but our preferred model remains the IPPG process of 1997 that gave way to the Electoral Commission that in turn gave Kenyans the much credible election of 2002. It's actually been adjudged as one of the best outcomes of a political process anywhere in Africa. Kenyans are keen on an electoral body that is democratic, transparent, and accountable in both internal and external operations, and that enjoys the full confidence of our people. Even those who believe that last year's elections were credible will agree that there are problems with the IEBC and its own credibility. The so-called mix-up that led to postponement of gubernatorial elections in Mombasa and Kakamega last year is itself a manifestation of a problem with transparency, accountability, and professionalism at that body. When we as Azimio went to court over presidential election results, Smartmatic, the provider of election technology, shocked us with a declaration that we could not access the server because it would compromise its other operations. Indeed, it went against a directive of the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court. They said they couldn't do that. That says a lot about the kind of deal IEBC got our country into. As a country, we have in the last decade tried to embrace modern systems for collection, collation, transmission, and tallying of election results. We have adopted results management systems that combine traditional vote counting and tallying processes and use of technology to verify voter eligibility, register voters, and transmit results. We have modified electoral laws to allow political parties to independently tally the results. But as we have witnessed in Kenya, both in the 2017 and 2022 technologies getting compromised and results altered. This has severely damaged the credibility of IEBC. Let me cite an example about credibility of IEBC. According to the Gallup poll, 64% of Kenyans did not have confidence in the honesty of elections as we prepared for 2022 polls. Similarly, the Afrobarometer survey shows that 24% of Kenyans thought that elections are not free at all, are not at all free and fair. A further 18% thought that elections may be free and fair, but there are major problems. Only 23% of Kenyans thought that elections are completely free and fair as we headed to the polls in 2022. The Afrobarometer survey further showed that 34% of Kenyans did not trust our election management body, the IEBC, at all. And another 23% trusted IEBC only a little. Only 19% trusted IEBC a lot as we headed to the polls in 2022. According to the Gallup poll, the percentage of Kenyans who have confidence in the honesty of elections declined from 58% in 2015 to only 35% in 2021. And please remember, even as the results, controversial as they were, 8 million Kenyans refused to vote out of those registered. That should make it clear to everyone that we have to rethink IEBC and in good time. Time is, of course, Murio, extremely of the essence. I submit that reconstitution of IEBC is a matter of grave national interest, and we should approach it as such. Election campaign financing, another area under consideration at this forum, is equally of great concern, not just to Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party, but to our country as a whole. The growth or otherwise of our democracy is heavily dependent on the kind of election management body we evolve and the rules we put in place with regard to financing of elections. In our country, as elsewhere, we have seen that democracy can be on trial, but it can also be on sale. Both jeopardize the stability and progress of the nation. We have to agree that as a country, we have a money problem when it comes to elections. Money is flooding our political system. In the university, we used to say money has been poured. Okay? Money is enabling only a handful of billionaires to decide who becomes governor, who gets in to be a county assembly representative or member of parliament, and even decide who runs and who eventually sits at the State House as president. There are millions of ordinary Kenyans with wonderful and revolutionary ideas, progressive ideas, I call them, on how we can take our country forward. But those people are being locked out of politics or leadership because they have no capacity to raise massive campaign cash, make massive financial contributions. Indeed, we are seeing a resurgence of Arambi once again. Now, they make massive financial contributions to political parties or candidates. They hire high-priced lobbyists, campaign experts, and lawyers that tilt the playing field in their favor. And so, such people sit back and become spectators because they see the democracy being on sale to the highest bidder. They see the system is already rigged by the moneyed. It gets worse when finances come from outsiders and with unknown and undeclared interest in the leadership of our country. This kind of development decreases the political participation that is a requisite part of our attempt at being a democracy. I know of countries in Europe and the US, when you get support from outside, you get disqualified because it goes against the national ethos and our values under Chapter 10 of our Constitution. So elections have become more beholden to financiers, both local and foreign. Leaders have become less worried about the ordinary people who need government care the most. And a recent example of high taxes is there for all of us to see. Madam Rono, with great respect to you, the bottom is not only leaking, but it's going down. I remember that during campaigns we had some problems with people trying to explain the model. And some of them say bottom of the bottom or going down. People are hurting. People are hungry. And if you like to borrow your parlance, the hustler is suffering and is crying out for help. We have no option but let me just, rephrase. Because of the influence of money, election financiers and government officials go through a revolving door that ensures that those who finance a campaign get tenders and get hired to lucrative positions that they clearly don't even merit. Brings the problem of inclusivity in our country. Some of us have been long in this country. We feel it. We feel it. Politics of exclusion. Mutadu kind of mentality. Campaign financiers ensure that their interests get prioritized in government, legislative, and policy agenda. Madam Rono, I wish you well in your new department. Make it a little different, my dear sister. Money consequently ensures that the government works great for a handful of wealthy individuals and powerful corporations that are able to finance elections or pay to influence government policy and legislatures. If we don't change this, ladies and gentlemen, money will break our country if it has not already done so. Stringent and fair rules on campaign financing is particularly important in a devastated economy like the one we have in our country. A situation where a few have the money, often corruptly obtained, while a massive majority live in squalor, puts that poor majority absolutely at the mercy of the rich who are seeking elections. It makes for very unequal contest and leads to a very undemocratic result. We therefore have to address campaign financing as a matter of urgency and national interest by borrowing the best practices around the globe. And I hope you hear me, Felix, and we thank the work of LJ. We have no option but to come up with legislation that will create public funding for elections that give ordinary Kenyans a louder voice and enables them to compete with the rich and the powerful. We need laws that force people to disclose who their donors are